things that I don't want to do that I do consistently, even though I really don't want to do them. And there are things I really want to do that I cannot make myself to do. Even though I want to do them and they're not that hard, I just can't make myself do them, right? Some of you are in this boat too, right? You go to work every day. How many of you want to do that? Anybody? Some of you. Daniel likes to go to work. Anybody else? You just want to go to work, but you still manage to get up and go consistently, right? Even though you don't want to. Not every day. Maybe some days. You want to spend all that money on your mortgage, on your rent apartment? Nope. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. You want to do laundry, cook supper, do any of that? But somehow, you manage to consistently do those things, even though you really don't want to. And yet there's things that you want to do that you just can't seem to make yourself do, right? I just want to work out a little. That's all. Like 15 minutes, that's all. And it's not that hard, and I can do it at the house, but I just, like tomorrow, I'll get it tomorrow. I really want to learn to draw. That's the thing that I want. I'm not an artist, but that's the thing I want to learn to do. And there's free videos on YouTube, and I got time, but why? I don't. I'll do it tomorrow. You want to go spend time with people. You want to hang out with people. You want to do things like, this will be fun. I want to do this. And yet, you just don't. Why is it that there are things that we really don't want to do that we will consistently do? I'm not talking about sin, but just the things we have to do in life. And things that we really want to do that we would actually enjoy that doesn't take that much effort that we just cannot seem to make ourselves do. Well, the difference is motivation, but it's not just motivation, it's a pressing motivation, right? If you don't go to work, you're not going to have any money, and you're not going to be able to pay those bills that you don't want to pay anyway. You're not going to be able to buy those groceries that you don't want to cook for supper anyway. You don't go to work, there are immediate pressing consequences. Whereas those other things that you don't want to do, like there's going to be consequences. My doctor keeps telling me, hey, you need to do this stuff. I'm like, you're right. I'll get to it. And there are going to be consequences to it. They're just not pressing, right? I want to learn to do these things, and I would enjoy doing them, but they're not pressing. And a pressing motive is the thing that gets us to the point that we're willing to do things whether we want to do them or not. Not just a motive. I got motives for all the things that I want to do that I don't do, but something that says there's going to be a fast consequence if I don't do this. And this is the thing we all deal with. Fortunately, I'm not the only one that notices this. Peter talked about this in 1 Peter chapter 4. He's gone through the gospel. He's talking to believers in Turkey, and it's modern-day Turkey. It wasn't called Turkey at that point. But in modern-day Turkey, they're in this weird cultural space where they're separated from their culture and they're being pushed together, Jews and Gentile believers who don't really get along that well, and they're working together. And he spends 3 chapters talking about the gospel, what the gospel is and what it means, and how you apply it in your life. And then we get to chapter 4, and he's like, okay, I know that you're going to forget the theology, and I know that even though you agreed with me about everything else, that you're going to have trouble applying that. So I'm just going to tell you, if you don't get all that stuff, get these 4 things. But he doesn't just tell them to do these 4 things, but he gives them a pressing motive to get them done. Like, this is the thing that I want you to consider when you're choosing whether you're going to do this or not. And so I'm going to do something I generally don't do. We're going to read through the entire passage that I'm going to preach through today. And that you'll like that because you'll know when I'm almost done, right? So we'll go through the whole. Last week, I went to a verse that was in another paragraph, and I saw people closing their Bibles when I got to the end of that paragraph and then open them back up when I went into the next verse. You'll actually know where I'm going to stop this week. But we're going to go through this, and I want to hit the motive that he gives us first, and then I want to consider what he tells us to do in light of those motives. So let's read through that. We're in 1 Peter chapter 4. My computer went to sleep, as it does, but that's all right. I'll read it. It says this, above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins. Show hospitality to one another without grumbling. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. Whoever speaks as one speaks oracles of God. Whoever serves as one who serves by the strength that God supplies, in order that in everything God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. To him belong glory and dominion forever and ever. And the motive here is in the last half of 11. So let's talk about the last half of 11, and then we'll go back through the list and talk about these things. He says, I want you to do all these things in order that God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. To him belong glory, dominion forever and ever. He says, I'm going to tell you to do these things, and you're going to struggle to do them because there's not a pressing motive to do that. So I want to give you the pressing motive. There's a carrot and a stick here, right? There's the carrot and the stick. There's the thing that you want to go for, and there's the thing that you don't want to have happen to you, so you do it because of those. First, you do these things that God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. He says, I want you to do these things, and the reason that I want you to do them, the carrot reason, is that you're doing this as a response to God. The Father loved you so much that though you were sinners, and yet remain sinners, though you were sinners and bound for the punishment of sin, which is hell and death forever, because of your sin and trespass against God, he sent Jesus to rescue you. He sent Jesus to die in your place to rescue you, that anyone who believes in him can call on him and be saved. That's what he did. God, the Father, loved, and Jesus acted on that love. And so what you do when you do this is you honor the one who loved you enough to send Jesus to rescue you. You honor him through Jesus by doing what Jesus has called you to do. You do this as a response to him, right? You're grateful to him for what he's done, so you do these things back to him. Every time that you sin, it's a reminder of what he's done for you, because every time that you sin, you have to go back to that forgiveness again. That he's extended that forgiveness to you, and all those sins are forgiven already. But you have to draw on that forgiveness that's been given every time you sin. And that should spark gratitude in you. Your awareness of your sin, your awareness of the gospel, your awareness of your condition should spark gratitude in you. And you look at him and say, he did all this for me. I want to do this for him. Right? I know, I try to treat Britt lovingly all the time. And I'm obviously great at it, of course. But I try to do that all the time. But like birthday comes up, I am stressing over treating her in a way that makes her feel loved. Her 40th birthday, both of our 40th birthdays was a year, but hers came up, and like I went a little crazy, right? I had 3 surprise birthday parties for her just so that she kept being surprised. That's what she wanted, and she didn't want 3 surprise birthday parties, but she wanted just to be celebrated. That's what she wanted. So like for a week, I'm stressing because I'm focused completely on how do I make her feel loved for that time. The rest of the time, I should really do this, but it's not always a pressing thing the way it is then. But what if we applied that same kind of thing to our service to God? That we're actually interested in serving him, in honoring him, in showing gratitude to him, to the point that we're a little stressed over it. Like we are putting effort into this. He has done this for me, and I want to do this back for him. And Peter says, like, if the first motive that you have here, the thing that you can allow to press on you a little bit, is remembering what he has done for you, to keep that first and foremost in your mind. Every morning to wake up and spend that time with God, to think about what he's done for you, to spend that time thanking him for that, and allow that to be the motivator throughout the day to do these things. That's the first motive, is the carrot. Just your response to God for what he's done for you. But then is the stick. If it's not enough for you, and some people are carrot people and some people are stick people, right? You know that raising kids, sometimes kids really respond really well to rewards, and some of them respond really well to the opposite of rewards, right? You got those different kind of people, and I don't know who you are. Maybe just gratitude's not enough for you. Well, then there's the other part. To him belong glory and dominion forever and answer. He is an authority over you. You will answer to him for this. And if you can't do this because you're grateful to him over that, maybe you should do it because dad's going to be home from work soon, and he's going to see how you do things, and you're going to answer for it. There's a carrot and a stick here. You can either respond to the reward that comes from honoring God for what he's done for you, or you can deal with the fact that you're going to have to stand before him and answer for why you didn't do those things. Those are the 2 motives he gives us. Pressing motives. Now, let's go back and let's talk about what he actually told us to do and see how these things work with that motive. Let's go back to verse 8. He says the first thing that we need to do is above all, and that means before everything else, if you don't do anything else, do this. Above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins. Now, when we talk about sins, most of the time we're talking about God said not to do this, so don't do this, right? These are things that are across the boundary that God has set. But this word sins also is used to refer just to offenses, right? Somebody offends you, somebody's rude to you, somebody treats you badly. That is a sin, not against God, but against you. In this context, we're not talking about like, here's the 10 Commandments, don't break any of those. We're talking about offenses against one another because he says you should love each other to deal with these sins. Obviously, that's not talking about our sins towards God. It's talking about our offenses towards one another. He says this, that you should love each other. This word love, like there's a lot of Greek words for love. We talked about this before. There's phileo, which means like brotherly love. That's getting along, liking each other kind of thing. But this is agape love. This is the unconditional love that God has for us. It's love based on a decision, based on character, not based on how we feel about somebody or how they treat us. So he says this, if you can't do anything else, work hard, that's what earnestly means, get out of breath at. Work hard at loving each other from a decision to love, not based on how you feel about each other, not based on how people treat you. Work hard to love each other unconditionally, because that will allow you to overlook offenses against you. This word cover, like we can look at that and like, oh, we're just going to cover up their sin. We're going to hide their sin. We're going to pretend there's not sin. We're going to ignore that. That's not what that means. This word cover is the same word that's used when it comes to atonement. The idea of paying for the sin. The idea of not allowing the sin to be a barrier between you and God. That Jesus has covered your sin. He has atoned for your sin. And what Peter says is for y'all to function as a church, for y'all to get along in this culture, the first thing you're going to have to do is work hard at loving each other, not based on how you treat each other or how somebody's treated you, but based on your decision to love them. And if you'll do that, you'll be able to overlook, you'll be able to let go, you'll be able to forgive almost every offense that's committed against you. Not all of them. There are some offenses that's like, no, we got to deal with this. I can't just forgive this. And Jesus lays out in Matthew chapter 18 how to deal with those things. But Peter says, look, for y'all to function, there's going to be a lot of little slights. There's going to be a lot of little discomforts. There's going to be a lot of little things where y'all bump heads or you rub each other the wrong way. And what you need to know is that you have to work hard at loving each other, not based on how you feel about each other because of how you treat each other, but loving each other because of a decision to love, so that you can avoid those offenses, so you can let those fences go, so that you can stay functioning together. And you know this is true, right? You got good friends, you got people you like a lot, and they do something rude to you, they're having a bad day, you can let that go, right? Because they're your good friends. You can show them a little bit of grace on that. But you got somebody you don't like all that much, somebody that rubs you the wrong way, that person in the office that you just don't click with, everything they do makes you mad, right? Everything. But the people you love, you can let some of that go. You and your spouse may argue about stuff, you may fight about stuff, but you let it go. Hopefully, if not, come see me. I have counseling appointments available. You let that go because love allows you to continue together. And Peter said, look, y'all got to work hard at loving each other, or you're not going to stay together. Now, the word agape that's used here is what goes back to our motivation. Because if he said, y'all need to be in churches where you all like each other, and if you don't like somebody, they should go to church somewhere else and be with people like them, and you can have the cool church and the loser church, right? And you put all those people you don't like over there. That's what we're supposed to do. But he doesn't say that. He says your motive for loving each other is not each other, but it's him. And you love each other because he has loved you even while you're sinning against him. And if you can't do it because of that, then do it because you're going to stand before him and he's going to say, why did you not treat that person with love? And you're going to say, well, have you met him? And he said, well, I met you. On your worst days, I met you, and I showed you love and compassion and forgiveness, not based on what you deserve, but based on who I am. So tell me again why you couldn't show them love. You can have the carrot or you can have the stick. The second thing he tells them to do, show hospitality to one another without grumbling. Now, this is really cool. Peter does a lot of stuff where I have to get in the languages more than I really want to. But this word hospitality, like we think about like having people over to your house, right? You're hospitable. You have people over to your house. You got a jug of sweet tea or some coffee or something. Like that's being hospitable. But the word hospitality that they use here is phileo. That's that other word for love. That's that brotherly love. For strangers, that's what it means. So the idea is that you show love to strangers. That's what hospitality is. And if you've read through the Old Testament, you see that a lot. Like they showed love. This whole thing was ingrained in their culture of showing love for strangers to a fault, right? Lot showed love to strangers and then did some dumb things to try to show hospitality, right? Treated his own family badly because of that. And Abraham, whenever that situation showed up, these angels showed up at his house, and he didn't know they were angels. And he was like, hey, we're going to stop everything, and we're going to show you care. We're going to show you love. This idea of showing hospitality to strangers, showing love to strangers, sharing with strangers, was built into their cultures. And it's not just the Jewish culture. This Greek culture, this existed there as well. They did this thing. But you know what's easier? It's easier to share with someone who doesn't have anything than it is to share with someone who lives next door to you and has made poor choices, and because of their poor choices, they don't have something that they need to borrow from you. That's harder. Somebody else that you're both going to work at the same place, and yet you share with them is harder than it is to share with a stranger who wanders through town with nothing at all. And what Peter says here is you need to show hospitality. And they're like, yeah, welcome strangers. We do all of that. He's like, no, you got to show hospitality to one another. You have to share with one another and welcome one another and serve one another as if they're a guest in your home, even while you're out in the world, even while you're at church. That you treat them as well as you would treat a stranger that wanders through. That's harder. It's harder because we're like, well, I mean, I got a job, they got a job. I've got a house, they've got a house. Why am I helping take care of them? Why am I helping share with them whenever they should be able to take care of this on their own? They're not wandering through from somewhere. They live here. Why am I treating them as a guest when we're in the same place? So, well, because think about what Jesus has done for you. That Jesus left here, and what did he say to the disciples when he left? He said, I'm going to prepare a place for you with me. I'm going to make a place for you to live with me. I'm going to share my inheritance with you. The Father has adopted you into the family to take care of you. Not looking for any response from you, not looking for anything back from you, not looking at what you deserve based on your own actions, but out of love for you, he welcomes you into his own home to care for you. Our response should be the same. To treat each other as if we are guests. To go out of our way to serve each other and help each other and share with each other. And here's the key phrase: without grumbling. Without griping about it. Because I can do all this stuff, but I'm probably still going to gripe about it, right? I'm going to get in the truck all the way home, right? But he says, no, your attitude should not just be to do this to check the box because God told you to do this, but to have the same attitude, not just the same actions. To treat each other well. To treat each other as guests, to share what you have, to serve one another. To show hospitality to each other with a good attitude. The third thing he says to do, and these two ideas are really wrapped together in verse 10 and 11. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's very grace. He says that I'm going to break this down a little bit, but I want you to know, if you have something from God, there's something about you that God has given you. There's a talent, there's a gift, there's something about you. That thing is to be used to serve one another. Whatever it is, serve one another. You're good at mopping floors, that's to be used to serve God. You're good at cooking, that's to be used to serve each other. You're good at just helping out and being available, that's to be used to serve God. Everything that you have is given to you by God, and you are a steward of it. It does not belong to you to be used whenever you feel like it, but it's something He's entrusted with you to serve each other, whatever it is. We have a tendency to think about service in the church being, well, we got the nursery, and we got the kids, we got the teens, we got the music, and that's where you serve. And those are all things that you need to serve. Those are all areas that we have that we need help with. By the way, if you didn't sign up for the volunteer survey, talk to Tori and she can get you on the list. These are all things that we need, jobs that we need filled, but that is not the limit of the job that is to be done, because we have people that can't go crawl around in the floor with the kids. We have people that are just don't have the right temperament for that, which maybe you should go serve the kids so you develop that temperament. I don't know. But we've got people who are not comfortable on safety. We've got people who can't sing. You sing quietly in your chair. You're not going to get up here and sing. Does that mean that there is no role for you? No. Whatever is your gift is how you are to serve. We need people to encourage. We need people to step up and say, hey, I'm praying for you. We need people to go sit down at lunch with people and welcome them in. Whatever your gift is, that is to be used for God. And it's not, well, my gift is not on this list that they send out for the volunteer survey. It's your responsibility to figure out what it is that God has given you, what God has made you good at. Yeah, I said those words right. Whatever it is that God has made you good at so that you can serve. And the thing is, we firmly believe that God assigns members to His body as He chooses, based off of what we need and what you need. So you need us and what we have to offer. But that gift that you have is something we desperately need. And if you don't find a way to use that, we're missing out on what God intends for us because you're not sharing what you have. But He gives two examples. That's four. He gives two examples of specific gifts that He wants you to use, and be careful how you use. First, whoever speaks as one who speaks oracles of God. That you, if you're good with words, that you use them seriously and you use them carefully as if you're speaking on behalf of God, because as His child, you are. Words have power. People don't believe that. People don't believe words have power, but they absolutely do have power. I want you to think about your greatest insecurity. The thing about your personality or your body that you're like, this is the thing that bothers me. You cover up, grow bangs for your forehead, or don't smile with your teeth, or you open your eyes really big, whatever it is. Like, what is the thing that you're most insecure about? Now, I want you to think about where that insecurity came from. What was the kid's name in elementary school that made fun of that? Right? What was his name? What was her name? When their words shaped how you see yourself 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, you tell me the words don't have power? The things that you think about when you lay there and you think about how somebody's hurt you, was it a punch to the face? The thing that keeps you up at night that somebody said to you, was it a punch to the face that they did to you? Was it stealing from you that keeps you up at night, or is it a word that they said to you? Let's think about this. When you are having an off day and you say something in a little bit weird way, and you go home and you spend your time thinking about, are they mad at me? Are they not mad? What did they didn't say the right word. They didn't respond the way I wanted to. Maybe I crossed the line. Maybe I did the thing. And you wait on those words that will give you that comfort, that power to comfort you. You're waiting on words. Words have power. A conversation we have to have the kids, specifically Cooper and Quinn all the time, is the way that they speak to Beckham is important. Because he's just young enough to believe they know what they're talking about and mean everything they say, right? Because of age, looks up to them and values what they think about him. When they use their words to hurt him, they're just trying to punish him for the moment, right? But he will remember the things they say about him. the same way that you remember the things that were said to you and about you. Your words have power, and that doesn't stop when you're a kid. The way that you speak to people, anybody, not just good communicators, anybody, matters. Jesus said that you will be judged for every idle word you speak. Think before you speak, because your words have power to shape how people see themselves. Speak as an oracle of God. What does that mean? That means be careful that when you speak a word that God would have you speak. But some of you are good communicators. Some of you just got this gift. You can get people wrapped up in what you have to say. You can get people to believe what you have to say. You can get people to follow along with what you have to say because you just have those words. You know people like that they can just pull you along and bring you along with everything they have to say. You who have those gifts, listen. You are meant to be of service to this church through those words. You are not just meant for sales. You're not just meant for meetings, but you're meant to use those to serve this church, to build up, to lead, because your words can make people believe things about themselves that they won't believe otherwise. Your words can make them believe things about the gospel that they would not believe otherwise, because God has given you a gift to speak in this way, but your words can also destroy. If you use your power, that when you get upset, that you use it for gossip, that you use it to tear other people down, you are sinning against God. And you need to quit. If you have this gift, be careful how you use it. But secondly, whoever speaks is one who speaks oracles of God. Whoever serves as one who serves by the strength that God supplies. And the thing is, we're all to serve, right? We're all supposed to serve. We're all supposed to find some way to serve. And when we serve, we're supposed to serve with strength given by God. Now, what we think about a lot when we say strength given by God is, well, God's going to, give me some Holy Spirit steroids kind of thing, and I'm going to step in and be able to do things I couldn't do otherwise. But that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes the strength is the patience that keeps you going even when people aren't grateful. It's endurance beyond your own ability to continue going. Serve. All of us have a role to serve in. All of us have a place to do that, and we serve for God. We serve each other through the power of God. That's how we do that. But some of you are gifted in a way that you're able to serve, whether that's in administration, it's leadership, it's just cleaning the floor, whatever your gift to be able to serve, and you're able to be patient, more patient than I am. You're able to serve in a way that helps people with nobody else knowing. And that is a gift from God. It's not flashy. It's not loud. People may not even notice what you're doing, but that is from God. And you will not be able to continue to do that if you only focus on your own motives for doing that. If you only do it because you like to serve, you like to help, you need to do this because you're going to get upset when people aren't grateful. You're going to want to quit when other people see your service and think you should just serve some more. It is only when you serve because you're serving God as your motive. And you serve because He's given you a gift and you're going to answer to Him for how you use that gift that you will be able to continue to serve. He says, I want you to do these 4 things, and I want you to remember that you're doing this to honor Him, and you're doing this because you'll answer to Him. Love each other. Not based on how they treat you, but based on how He has treated you. Share with those around you. Welcome those around you. Be generous with those around you as if they are strangers that you're welcoming in. Why? Because God has done this for you. Speak carefully and wisely. And if you can't do that, close your mouth. Because you speak on behalf of God and your words have power. And serve not through your own motives or your own strength, but through the strength that He supplies. Serve Him, not them, or you'll quit. I have to have these motives. I have to have these motives. If if I just try to do my job, I will quit. Most pastors quit. And if I try to do it that way, I will quit. But here's the thing. I'm an emotionless robot. And it's not entirely true. It's like 95% true. Joey got all the emotions and an extra inch of height, which I'm still a little sore about, but he got all the emotions, so I guess I'll take the being a little bit shorter and he can deal with all that. I just don't have a ton of emotions. I don't feel it that way. But I love you. I should love everybody, right? I don't. I'm sorry. But I love you. And it's weird how fast I start loving people that come into this. It's weird how fast I get attached and start loving. It's strange because that is not my personality. But let me tell you why that happens. It happens because of the way that I see my role. Like, I know some people, like, they need a job, so they're pastors because they need a job, and they choose the salary they want or the place that they want. That's not how this worked for me. And if you were here when that first happened, you know I fought against God because I thought I was supposed to be somewhere else, but God kept pulling me in here. It's right where I needed to be. But I am your pastor not because of the salary package, not because of the location, but because of a call of God. God, I firmly believe, I'll bet both of the dollars that I have, that God has called me to this place. And if we run out of money tomorrow, I'm still your pastor. Mike may have to teach me how to use roller skates because I'm going to be car hopping at Sonic or something, but I'm going to be your pastor. Because I'm not your pastor because this is my job. I'm your pastor because God has called me here and given me the privilege to do this. And because of that calling, I'm going to answer to him. And what has happened over the last 20 years of serving in churches, it'll be 20 years in May, after the last 20 years, I did not always feel this way. I felt that way about the calling, but not the love. But what has happened is over 20 years of acting with love towards people, God has produced in me a love that I could not come by on my own. That obedience and action produces the emotion. And over 20 years of acting with love, because of him, not because of them, God has changed me and produced in me a very painful and inconvenient love for you. But if I try to continue with that love just because of you, I'll quit. When I treat people with love, and I develop this love for people because I see them as sheep that Jesus has trusted me with, and I do everything I can to love them, and then they sit in my office and tell me how much I don't care, how much I don't do for them, how much the guy down the street, how much better the guy down the street is than me, I want to quit loving. When I share what I have, and I share my time, and I share my ear, and I'm there with people, and I share, and I share, and I share, but then I bump up against something that I can't share because I don't have it, or there's a limit, and they turn around and they talk about how I don't care, and they leave because I don't care. It makes me want to stop loving. When I stand up here and I speak on clear biblical truths and I work my tail off to speak it with grace and with mercy, to speak clearly the truth, but also to offer forgiveness and for us to figure out how to work together with people who do those things, and they get up and walk out in the middle of the sermon because I'm some jerk. When I serve and I serve and I serve and I serve, and there's no acknowledgement of the service, there's just ingratitude and a demand for more, it makes me want to stop. And if I loved you because I like you, which many of you I do really like and love because I like you, most of you I just don't know well enough to like that way. But if I did, I would quit because it hurts. But I've been able to keep going for 20 years. And I ain't quitting because I don't do this for you. I do it for the one who saved me and called me and trusted you to me. And I will receive a reward for that, and I work for that reward. But I also know that He loves you enough to have died for you and to brought you into a body. And that if I don't do that, I will answer to Him. And so I'm able to keep going. And I'm not special because I'm a pastor. The same is there for you, that you are required to love these people, not based on how much you like them, but your decision to love. And it will be difficult. It will be difficult to serve. It will be difficult to speak kindly. It will be difficult to share. But if you will do it for Him and not them, you'll be able to keep going. This isn't just true for us as individuals, it's true for us as a church. We dealt with this a lot in like the last 12 to 18 months. Right? Where people come in and we welcome them with everything that we have, and we offer them opportunities to get involved. We offer them opportunities to have relationships, but they want you to do all the work. They want us to do all the work of the relationship. They don't want to show up to things. They just want to be where they want to be, and they want you to have that kind of relationship, right? And we offer them love and we offer them opportunity, but they're here for a while, and they say, well, this church is just full of cliques. Those people all love each other, but nobody loves me. Well, just show up to something and they might love you. Show up to something and you might have a relationship. No, it's too late. Or we share. And we give, and we give, and we give, and nobody ever knows that we give. But we give 10 times, and the 11th time we say we can't give that, and all of a sudden we're selfish, awful people because we gave 10 times and not 11. We take firm stands on things, but also show grace. And people walk away and ignore everything else that ever happened because of one stand that we took. That was what Jesus said. We serve people. We serve people with tears. We serve people and have meetings and rearrange ministries to try to serve people as they need to be served. But it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter how much we serve. We serve and we serve and we serve and we serve and we serve. And it's never enough. And they've never posted about us on Facebook before, but then they get mad and they leave and they're talking about how great the next place is. Because that last place they were at, they didn't care about people. And if we just obey this as a church, because we want people to respond with gratitude or to always come in and always take advantage of it, and we're only going to do that if we never get hurt, we will shut down. We will decide that this church is fine the way it is. We got the people we need. We got enough money to do what we're going to do. We're going to keep going. We're going to take care of our kids, and we're going to shut the doors to everybody else. If somebody else comes in, they're just pain waiting to happen. So we're going to let them know. Politely, because this is the South, but we're going to let them know this ain't the place for them. And that's what we'll do. But if instead we recognize that we are all sinners and that Jesus came to rescue us and that we cause Him pain, we cause Him suffering, and so we're willing to suffer in response to Him out of gratitude to Him, then we'll keep going. If we remember that we are stewards of the gifts, that we are not owners of these gifts, but stewards of these gifts meant to use them for Him, we'll keep going. But the motive will determine everything. The difference between people who make it and people who quit, between churches who continue to reach out into the community, who continue to welcome new people in, and the churches that turn in on themselves, is all about motive. Some of you have closed down because you've been hurt. Some of you have decided that you've got enough people in your circle because you've been hurt over and over again. And I get why you're doing it, but you're wrong for doing it. And you need to repent and open back up. Like, Ben, I'm going to get hurt. Yes, I understand. But the thing that we forget, because the ungrateful people are loud, the thing that we forget is that for every one ungrateful person, there's 9 more that have been so grateful. We can't see them. All we can see is the one mad person. But if for every person that we've helped that got mad and left because it wasn't enough, there are a bunch more that have stayed with gratitude. For every family that we serve and we make changes for, that it's not enough and they get mad and leave and try to tear things up on the way out the door, there are 10 others that are thrilled in serving. For every person that you love that takes that love and turns around and uses it to hurt you, there's an entire church full of people that are grateful for that love and taking advantage of it. We have to remember that the loudest people are the smallest group of people. And that while we're going to have people that hurt us, we've got to pay attention to all the ones who aren't. But even if pain is the result, even if suffering is the result, we don't do this for them. I don't do this for you. I love you. But if I do this for you, I won't make it. We do this as a response to the one who has done this for us first. If you're closed down, I get it, but you're wrong, and you need to open back up. If your motives are all about how the people around you respond, you're wrong, and you're going to quit. And if you're so hurt that you've decided, you know what, I'm fine with the way things are right now, let's just stay where we are right now, where everybody's happy and everybody likes each other, we don't have to get hurt anymore, you're wrong. Because I think there's 600,000 people in Northwest Arkansas. And we are not stewards of them alone, but we share in our stewardship of those that know Jesus and need to be discipled, and those that don't know Jesus and need to be brought to him. And if we close ourselves off, not only will we miss out on the blessing of all those who aren't the squeaky wheels, but we will answer to God for the fact that he chose us for this opportunity. And we said, no thanks. Will you open yourself up? Will you examine your motivations? Will you work hard at love? Because that's what he did for you. Would you stand with me? Our Heavenly Father, we are so grateful, first of all, for your love that we do not deserve. That you don't love us based of our actions, but you love us based of your nature, that you are loving and steadfast and faithful. And because of that, we count on your love. Regardless of our sin, our actions, the way that we fall and slide back, Lord, you continue to love us. And that you demonstrated that love by sending your Son to take our place on the cross so that any who call on your name might be saved, Lord. And I ask that we would not get so comfortable in that gift that we forget that we're called to share that with others. That we're not called to share it with the people that will be grateful for it. We're not called to share it with the people that will respond well. We are called to share because of what you've shared with us. I ask that we would be a church that works hard at loving. I ask that we would be a church that shares generously and without grumbling with those in need. I ask that we would think before we speak, and that we would serve through your strength for you, not for the people being served. I ask that we would take the steps of obedience to do these things regardless of the feelings within us. And that your Spirit, which exists within us for sanctification, would produce the emotions that will make this easier as we follow in obedience. I thank you for the opportunity that you've given us, the stewardship that you've given us, the trust that you've given us, and ask that we would serve for the carrot. And that when we get a bad attitude, we would be reminded of the stick. I thank you, Lord. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.